Jan Ruz is used to hanging out in high places. The Estonian slackliner has stoutly stepped out over cities and scenic settings across the globe. But a recent challenge he took on in the nation of Turkey truly bridged east and west. And that's why we're bringing you the suspense in today's show. The Bosphorus Bridge connects two sides of Istanbul. That's the most populous city in Turkey. And the slackline that Ruz used to cross over that bridge stretched 2/3 of a mile in length. He says slacklining in cities is always more challenging than it is out in nature. In this case, that was because of the noise of the cars beneath him, some of them honking their horns, in addition to the planes and helicopters above him. But after taking one step at a time, more than 540 feet above sea level, Ruz made the crossing in 47 minutes. And in doing that, he literally walked on a slack line from Asia to Europe. Nothing slack about that. Welcome to the world from A to Z with me. I'm Carl Azuz. It's always so good to see you. For the second time in less than 3 months, American lawmakers are considering what can be done to better protect political leaders. The Secret Service is being closely watched here. While it was established in 1865 as a guard against counterfeit money, the organization's role expanded after the assassination of U.S. President William McKinley in 1901. The Secret Service would become the full-time protector of U.S. presidents and eventually vice presidents, former presidents, spouses, children, and some other candidates and officials. At a news conference earlier this week, the acting leader of the Secret Service said he'd ordered a paradigm shift for the agency to move it from reacting to readiness. Its former director resigned in late July following a failed attempt to assassinate former President Donald Trump at a campaign rally in Pennsylvania. He was shot in the ear, and a member of the audience was killed and 2 others were injured. And though the Secret Service prevented another assassination attempt where the Republican nominee was golfing on Sunday, U.S. lawmakers are debating whether the organization needs more resources.
At his first campaign event after a second apparent assassination attempt, former President Donald Trump praised the Secret Service while also acknowledging resource concerns at the agency.
These guys do a great job. Now, they do need more people, and they've been complaining about that for a long time.
President Joe Biden has also emphasized he believes the Secret Service needs more personnel to handle an elevated threat environment for political candidates.
One thing I want to make clear, the service needs more help. And I think the Congress should respond to their needs if they, in fact, need more services. So that's what we're going to be talking about.
While lawmakers on the Hill say they are open to changes,
if increasing the funding is part of the solution, I'm for it.
If the Secret Service is in need of more resources, we are prepared to providing it for them.
some are still contending with whether the Secret Service is underfunded or simply mismanaged. And many have questions about what meaningful security improvements can be made with less than 50 days until the election. As investigations are still underway regarding the two major Trump incidents, the Secret Service's acting director says he will work with Congress to address the security gaps exposed.
Maintaining security for U.S. presidents has been a challenge throughout the nation's history. Assassination attempts date back to at least 1835, when a man tried and failed to assassinate President Andrew Jackson. The shooter's guns misfired. Later in the 1800s, Presidents Abraham Lincoln and James Garfield died from their gunshot wounds, as did President William McKinley in 1901 and President John F. Kennedy in 1963. There were failed attempts on the lives of Presidents Franklin D. Roosevelt, Harry Truman, and Gerald Ford. President Ronald Reagan was seriously wounded but survived being shot outside a hotel in 1981. And one famous story about Teddy Roosevelt took place when he was campaigning to be elected again in 1912. He was shot at an event in Wisconsin, but went ahead and gave his speech anyway before going to the hospital. His actions enhanced his bull moose image.
Word of knowledge. In 1893, New Zealand became the first country to take what action? Establish a national park, declare independence from Britain, grant women the right to vote, abolish slavery. With the signing of the new Electoral Act in 1893, New Zealand became the world's first country to grant women the right to vote in national elections.
On this date in world history. It was on September 19th in 1893 that women's suffrage was attained in New Zealand. Governor Lord Glasgow signed the act into law following a series of campaigns by suffragettes. On this date in 1991, a German tourist hiking in the Alps discovered something that would change our understanding of the ancient world. It was a mummified human body, believed to be more than 5,000 years old, that scientists say was covered and preserved by glacial ice. The remains became known as the Iceman, or Ötzi, named for the Ötztal Alps where the body was found. And finally, the largest marine oil spill ever was declared to be permanently sealed on September 19, 2010. It had begun that April following a deadly explosion on the Deepwater Horizon oil rig in the Gulf of Mexico. Officials estimate that 210 million gallons of crude had spilled out into the Gulf, and the cleanup, recovery, and wide-ranging effects of the disaster would linger for years.
Where in the world? This is an island nation in the Pacific Ocean. It was once an enemy of the U.S., but it is now a close ally. It's prone to earthquakes, typhoons, and tsunamis. This is Japan, a nation of more than 123 million people.
Though digital payments have been on the rise in many parts of the world, the majority of transactions in Japan, more than 60% of them, are estimated to be made in cash. The country just issued new banknotes this summer. But in order to make those notes, it takes a crop commonly found more than 3,000 miles away in the southern Asian country of Nepal.
Along the winding paths of Nepal's Himalayan peaks thrives a key cash crop for one of the world's wealthiest economies, Mitsumata. This small yellow plant is essential for making Japan's bills. It's found in abundance in Nepal's highland regions, a chance discovery made by Kampo Incorporated, a company that produces paper for the Japanese government.
The profits from the Mitsumata are used to build elementary schools, to offer better education to children and hair salons in the village.
Tadashi Matsubara's company first went to Nepal for a charity program to help farmers dig wells. But after discovering Mitsumata in the mid-90s, growing wild as far as the eyes could see, they taught farmers how to cultivate the crop turned cash, transforming the local economy, Matsubara says. And as Japan unveils its first new bills in 20 years, the demand for the plant skyrockets.
These are Japan's brand new bills. They're the first to have 3D holograms of historical figures to prevent counterfeiting and have tactile marks for the visually impaired.
In Japan, where cash reigns king, this vital crop from the Himalayan hillside is key to filling its wallets.
Mountain View sounds like a pretty picturesque place, and it's there we picture the students and teachers of Mountain View Adult Transition Program. Thanks to all of you for watching from the Golden State of California. Just a little northeast of there is the Gem State of Idaho, and that's where Mrs. Norman's class is watching. Great to see our viewers at Taylor View Middle School in Idaho Falls. And watch out for the wolves. They're on the hunt at St. Paul's School, where Coach Scoriel's class is online in Covington, Louisiana. There's a home in Minnesota that needs absolutely nothing to stand out in the neighborhood. That's 'cause it's copiously covered in rocks. It was originally a gas station back in the day. For the past 25 years, it's been the home of the Herzogs, a family who says it's not just randomly rocked out, that there are intentional designs in the material that make the house unique, not to mention wonderfully weatherproof. When in the courts of events, if you want a home that really rocks, you gotta start with a clean slate. Don't worry if it's rhyolite weight. Take nothing for granted, stack plenty of stone, watch it metamorph into something really nice, and give your friends something to marvel at when they come over to celebrate your housewarming. Yeah, rock puns. They're sedimentary, Watson. I'm Carl Azuz for The World from A to Z, and I can't wait to see you again on Friday.